G'day mate, my name is Margie and I'm an Australian currently living in America. Today's video is a breakdown of Season 3 of Bluey episode Facey Talk. If you're new to my channel, I do Australian versus American content as well as Bluey content, being a Australian, Bluey being an Australian show, but I want to do it for everyone worldwide so they can understand all the Aussie references in it, as well as all the Easter egg and all the fun little things that Ludo Studios includes in every episode. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and join my YouTube family. We're almost at the end of Season 3. It's just a few more episodes left, but I do plan on also doing a breakdown of the Christmas episodes. And I think, honestly, that we're probably going to get a Christmas episode this year too. My fingers are crossed anyway. But otherwise, I also plan on doing some more Bluey content in the new year with Season 1 and Season 2 as well, just to tide us over until we get new episodes. Also, quick shout out to my Christmas book, My Santa, Your Santa, available on Amazon, links in the description below. If you want to learn more about our book, don't forget to check out our second channel, Mixed and Nerdy. I'll put a little link up here as well as a link down below too. Otherwise, let's just get straight into it with our synopsis. Facey Talk. Bluey and Bingo love to video chat with Muffin and Socks so they can all draw pictures together. When Muffin won't give Socks a turn, the kids discover what happens when you hog. I really loved this episode. One, because I absolutely adore Muffin. I think she is the most hilarious character. So cool as well to see more of her and Socks as a little bit older, but also get to finally see a bit more of Trixie and Stripe and how they parent. So there's a lot to do here with hogging and sharing, not just with the kids, but with the adults as well. So I really enjoyed this episode. Our opening scene, we see that Bandit is beatboxing. I actually have a theory video, a short one on my channel here already about how I think Bandit used to be a famous performer before he was married. So definitely go check that out if you get the chance to after this video. So then we have Bluey and Bingo coming in asking if they can Facey Talk. Obviously this means FaceTime, but it's cute that they have like their version of it or the word for it. We then get our first sort of hint at the meaning of the show with Chili saying like, you know, don't hog, you know what happens. And then the girls being like, wait, what does actually happen if you hog? And then as they go to hit the FaceTime, it's really cute. You can see a picture of Stripe and Trixie there on their sort of like FaceTime call. And then as soon as Muffin and Socks answer the phone, we already get like our first parallel of the two different types of families. So how Bingo and Bluey are together being all happy, both in the screen, and then Muffin and Socks basically not being on the screen together and Muffin being like, stop hogging. So it's already, you can see the differences in the children and also the parenting styles too. But it is great that we get to hear Socks talking more. And of course she uses like baby talk, like is my turn, rather than using proper sentences. But I'm really happy to see Socks sort of growing a little bit older and also getting to see more of her personality. As Trixie enters, we get to hear a bit more from Trixie and Stripe, and I find it really funny that they have so many nicknames for Muffin, and I feel like this is a really Australian thing. We love shortening names, but I don't know, growing up, I had multiple different nicknames, all from different people, or even multiple ones from the same people. So I love that we get Muffin, we get Muffles, we get Muffy. So I think that's a very, I don't know, for me, a very Aussie thing to have multiple nicknames. We then sort of in the background get Trixie and Stripe talking a bit, and we get our first sort of insight into their parenting. You can see Trixie just wants to sort it out herself, but Stripe being like, no, I can do it, give me a chance. So we sort of get that first little insight into, I guess, some of the difficulties that they're having with parenting someone like Muffin. You then see Stripe sort of use, I guess, what we call like permissive parenting. So Bandit and Chili use what's called like gentle parenting style, whereas we can see more throughout this episode that Trixie and Stripe use what's called permissive parenting. So they're two very different styles, and you can already see that Stripe uses the idea of trying to force them to do something rather than negotiating, which is usually what Bluey and Bingo's parents do, is they negotiate to get what they want. Or they get the girls to negotiate to get what they want. So you can see that Stripe's trying to threaten them, but he doesn't really commit to anything. And then, of course, unsurprisingly, Muffin does not want to share. We know that's kind of part of her personality, and it's still part of her personality, even though she's 4 years old now. But we do get a really cool scene where Stripe gets really angry and, of course, says her full name, Muffin Cupcake Healer. This is awesome. This is twice now that we've found out the middle names of characters in the show. So we found out in the previous episode that it was Bluey Christine Healer, now Muffin Cupcake Healer. Interesting that they both start with C. I wonder if that's like a Healer family tradition. But I also think it's really funny that her name is basically Cake Dog. So Muffin and Cupcake both being cakes. Makes me wonder what Socks' middle name is. Maybe it's like Socks Shoes or Socks and Sandals Healer. I don't know, I think that'd be really funny to find out. Let me know what you think Socks' middle name might be in the comments down below.
If you say cowboy hat one more time, you'll be in timeout.
Cow. Boy.
Okay, that's it. You're going to timeout.
Now this is quite funny because basically it's because Stripe wanted to put her in a timeout. This is the first time we've really seen timeouts in the show because again, it's not really something that Bandit and Chili do with their gentle parenting style. So again, it's interesting to finally see like this version of parenting. So I love seeing as well, like when he tries to put her in a timeout and then she runs away and she steals his phone and she's able to use it to join in on the call. Muffin is 4 years old. 4 years old. But I think it's a really good reference to real life with the fact that kids really young already know how to use technology. I mean, I know I would have had no idea, but that's because it wasn't around when I was a kid. So I think it's a really interesting take that they've shown that, yeah, young kids can use this sort of technology really young. And it's pretty funny that she stole his phone. Now, we then get the most hilarious montage through Stripe's house, and we get to see just how massive it is.
He's coming, Muffin!
Muffin! Running away will only make it worse!
So during that chase scene as well, you would have had like that classical music in the background. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this properly, but that song is the Bizet Carmen Suite No. 1 from Les Toreadors. Basically, I'm sure you would have heard it and been like, hey, I've totally heard this before because it's really common. And that's something that Bluey does a lot, is using that classical music and just updating it in a way to fit in with the show. Now, from the chase scene, we can also tell that the house is 2 stories as well. It's got a lot of very modern style to it, unlike Bluey and Bingo's house, which is more like a classic Queenslander style. This one's a lot more modern. They've got a lot more modern artwork as well that we see. And then at the very end of the chase scene there, we got to see more Cat Squad references. So her bed sheets, Muffin's bed sheets, are Cat Squad, which is really funny. And we also get to learn that Bluey is a little bit musical. She has a ukulele, but we've never seen it because apparently it's been at Muffin's place this whole time. Again, Muffin is not good at sharing, she likes to keep things. Yet again, we see Stripe's version of parenting where he tries to threaten something, backs away as soon as people say no. So I know on like Reddit, there was a bit of a discussion about whether or not Stripe has like an attention issue or like an acceptance one where he just wants to be loved, which I find is interesting because we know he's the middle child. So maybe this is his version of showing us his middle child syndrome where he wants to be aggressive but then takes it back because he wants to be loved by everyone. Now, as Muffin is trying to escape again, we get to see a few more little Easter eggs. So we see more Cat Squad stickers. We also see the Moonlight Unicorn stickers. We know that she loves Moonlight Unicorns. We also see her crown there up on her Duchess that we've seen her wear in multiple episodes. And then as we pan out into the hallway, we get this picture of their family. And I feel like this is very, I don't know, like Trixie's pose. This is one of those very stereotypical paid for family portraits. Whereas in comparison with Bluey's ones, I think it's, I don't know, it feels like more natural. So again, a bit of a difference between the families. We then get to see like a Snapchat filter, I feel here. So it's kind of like, I guess, a Snapchat reference, but I mean, you can also do these on Instagram and Facebook and that now as well. But it's also, I think, maybe a Chunky Chimp reference too, but it's just a really funny thing that they added in. And of course, we get to hear Bandit chiming in because he started to watch it being like, classic Stripe. That's the second time now that he said that this season. He said it after the New Year's party episode. I think they've been adding in a lot of sort of new sayings this season rather than relying on the old ones like for real life and gotta be done. They've created a lot of new ones, so I like that. Now, as we're going through the chase scene, we go into the bathroom and hilariously see Trixie on the toilet. She's just reading like a home renovation magazine basically, but she tries to cover herself, even though like they're never wearing any clothes anyway, so it wouldn't make a difference. But I think that's just a really funny reaction. And then when we see the sink and the basin in the bathroom, we see a little plant there. So for anyone who's not Australian, this is a gumnut plant. This comes from our eucalyptus tree, which is one of the most iconic Australian forest trees. They're literally everywhere. And the gumnuts are, I know, very Aussie for me. There's lots of books about them when you're kids and little gumnut fairies. So I think that's a really cool reference to Australia fauna. We then get this whole scene where while we see the kids drawing at the front, in the back we can hear Stripe and Trixie having an argument basically about their parenting styles and what's happening. So we hear about the time it out issue coming up again and the fact that, you know, Stripe wanted to do it but couldn't, and then Trixie getting angry because she's like, no, we don't do those anymore. I feel like this is a reference again to modern parenting. Timeouts are seen as not the thing to do. You should be doing time ins instead. And I love that she references that she read it on a blog because obviously, I know a lot of us learn our parenting from blogs, vlogs, videos on YouTube, things like that. But then you can see the issue that they're having, and it's a communication issue, basically. Like, Trixie isn't telling him how she wants to parent, and he's trying to do it as well, the best that he thinks he knows how. And then we get this line from Trixie basically saying, because you're never here, which is really interesting because obviously in comparison to Bandit and Chili, Bandit is always there. So it really makes me wonder, what is it that Stripe does as a job? Because it sounds like maybe he's a FIFO worker, fly in, fly out, or he just works really long hours. But whatever kind of work he does, it has to be able to afford their obviously beautiful house with a pool, as well as the camper, that brand new like electric tech car that came with like a free tech car, their vacations to Bali as well. So whatever he does, he earns a lot of money. We then see, like, I guess the idea of hogging coming into it from a parent's perspective, because Stripe wants to parent, but then Trixie wants to parent. And then you hear Stripe saying, well, I get to parent too. And I think this is a really good reflection of maybe how fathers feel within the parenting world a lot of the time. That mums tend to hog the parenting or decide on how they're going to parent, and the dads never really get as much of a say in it. And I really love that the show decided to bring this up. And then same thing with the mum, Trixie, basically saying, yeah, but you have to do it right. I remember this feeling when we first had our son, and just thinking everything that I would do was right, but everything my husband was doing was not right. And it's stupid. It's so silly because that's not how it works at all. But it's just this mindset you get into that, you know, you're doing it right and everyone else is doing it wrong. I do love that Bandit chimed in. He's like, okay, no, we shouldn't be listening to this, mute it, rather than, you know, trying to jump in on their conversation or anything like that. I love that it shows how respectful he is to his brother and his wife, well, his brother's wife. So I think that's really great that they put that in. And then we see the idea of hogging come full circle where he says, I feel like you're hogging all the parenting. And again, it's showing that both children have to learn how to share, but also adults and parents have to learn how to share responsibilities as well. And then we see it finally mute just as she's saying, you know, you say one thing, I say the other thing, the kids get confused. And then we don't get to hear the rest of their conversation. And I think that's a really good thing. It's kind of similar to the episode Teasing, where they kind of just like petered off towards the end and you never heard the reasons behind it. I like how they've decided to not guide parents basically, or not tell people what they should and shouldn't be doing in this kind of conversation. And instead they just go for showing us the non-verbals. So we can see the way that Stripe touches her arm, they end up holding hands and then hugging at the end, that they are taking on board what each person says, they've come to an agreement and they've sorted it out and they're listening and communicating with each other. And that's really beautiful. Now, as Muffin starts to get chased again, we get to see a couple of different backgrounds going on with the green screen effects, which is really great. I love that they added in like the little pixelated parts too. So we get to see Big Ben from London, we get to see the Eiffel Tower in Paris, we get to see the Great Wall of China in Beijing as well. And then you can see that conversation that Stripe and Trixie had really worked because they've decided to work together now and they're doing teamwork. And it's really funny just getting to watch how they move from like screen to screen. Just so cool how they did it with the 3 screens. And then in the background of the lounge room behind Socks, you see a little dog toy. So it's like a squeaky toy that a dog would bite on. So that's a really funny dog reference. And then of course the phone slips up to the air and falls down into the pool. And when I watched this scene, I was like, I've seen this before. And I 100% think it is a reference to BoJack Horseman and the intro scene there where you see him falling off the balcony and then landing in the pool and then looking up through the pool. So I think that's a really cool, another sort of animation reference. Again, you see that they've both decided that a timeout was necessary after this. So again, even though they have decided to communicate and it's teamwork, they haven't really decided on what parenting style they want to go with. And that's okay. And then our very last scene, we see that Bluey has finished her drawing and is more than happy to share with Bingo. And we see that Bingo starts drawing and she puts on a little mustache, and it kind of reminds me of the Pavlova episode where their dad was dressing up as a French chef. So maybe a little Easter egg to that episode. Overall, I really loved this episode. I had a lot of fun watching it and breaking it down. I think it's great that they brought up the issues of hogging and sharing, not just with objects, but also with feelings and emotions and parenting styles as well. I really enjoyed as well seeing the girls grow up and the differences between them, because there's basically a 2-year age gap between both sets of sisters. However, you know, Bluey is 7 and Bingo is 5. And then we've got the younger kids being Muffin, she's 4, and then Socks, she must be 2 by now, I'm guessing, because she's speaking a little bit more and she's not doggish like. So I like seeing that, yeah, as you grow older, you do ideally get better at sharing and understanding, but when you're a really young child like Muffin is, it can still be really difficult. Again, I love that they show imperfect parents. That's been a really big theme for this season, is not showing the parents as being like the most amazing, perfect people in the world. So I feel like Ludo Studios took on a lot of the feedback about that because they've really pushed that a lot this season. And again, I just love the inclusion of the middle names. I really want to know now what Socks and Bingo's middle names are, and if they start with C. If you think they do, let me know down below. Or if you think they like kind of match up with their names, or maybe it's another grandparent's name. I would love, 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 love to know. But otherwise, what did you think about this episode? Did you enjoy it as much as I did? Please let me know in those comments down below. And while you're there, don't forget to hit that big thumbs up button. I super duper appreciate it, as well as that subscribe button and the little bell as well. So that way you know as soon as I release new content. I will be doing this all the way up until we finish season 3, so we've only got a few more episodes to go, unfortunately. But again, like I said, I think there's going to be a Christmas episode, because usually there's 52 episodes and half of that would be 26, and we're only getting 25 episodes. So that means that we should be getting one more, and I really hope that it's on Christmas Day. Otherwise, don't forget to come back tomorrow and I'll see you in that video. Mwah! Bye!